there's kaleidoscope looking at these skies. I slip into a comatose, let my mind go. Transcend, I took a dive into the deep end. I breathe into another life. Watch me as I rise up higher. Speak no words as I disperse, coming through the atmosphere, coming through the atmosphere. Hush me back as I return, coming to the end, coming through the atmosphere. Speak no words as I disperse, coming through the atmosphere, coming through the atmosphere. Hush me back as I return, coming through the coming through be
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hopefully I have kind of a chill stream today. Actually, it's not chill. I always say that. We got some geopolitics again. Oh, what's up? Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, we got some continuing stories from before. We got the Copyright Office drama continues. And I guess there was some more things happening behind the scenes regarding Elon Musk and AI and the new copyright. The new person in charge is not friendly towards tech bro culture. Which doesn't bode well because AI companies want data and they also want things ruled in fair use so they could they want the data that they train on to be considered fair use so they could gobble up all the data they can. And then this one is a little more niche, a little more for my software bros. But DATABRICKS to buy startup Neon for $1 billion. DATABRICKS has been kind of a little bit of a background character in the AI space, but they're more big data, is what I'd consider them, analytics. But Neon, I've actually used Neon. I was an early user of Neon. And they are a database as a service company, but they're serverless and they're Postgres. They use Postgres, which my favorite database. But I think it's just there's some more to it. Neon rents out their service to other big players like Vercel, and some other players. I can't other companies, I can't remember. But anyways, interesting story. And then yeah, we're gonna talk more about the AI diffusion rule. Wall Street Journal has a good article. Because the Trump administration getting rid of the AI era chip diffusion rule, kind of limiting where AI diffusion rule limiting where chips could be sent to, that is gone now, and this is kind of at the eve of, it's certainly after Trump is kind of announced some chips going to like partners in the Middle East, which might have been a bit more risky before. Not sure if Biden admin would have done something like that. NVIDIA didn't support the AI diffusion rule, the Biden era one, so I'm sure they're in support of this. But they also ruled that the HUAWEI chips, the Ascension 920D or whatever that we've looked at on stream a few times, they are now illegal to use, and it is they're saying, the Trump admin saying it's a criminal offense to use HUAWEI chips. So yeah, and this also comes after Sam Altman said, in front of Congress, that we need the world to use all of America's tech stack, including up down to the chips, in the AI model. So take a look at that, and then we'll just part around, be curious. We also have actually coming soon, very soon. Actually, I'm kind of waiting right now, maybe even stalling. SpaceX has a launch, and they never have one during stream, so we're gonna watch that. The stream should be starting in like minutes. I think the launch window's at 2:38, and they start streaming 5 minutes before. Oh, live breaking news. From my friend Discord, my friend Austin. 89 million Steam accounts details allegedly leaked, but no one seems to know how. You should probably change your password. Thing. I actually do have one video we could watch before. This is the Rocket Labs again. I do own stock in Rocket Labs. It's been doing good. It's been ripping. All right, actually, let's look at that. Let's look at or we could use Perplexity Finance. I kind of just like I like Perplexity Finance is good, just a little sterile. Kind of like the mess of this, you know, just like you join here just like throwing shit at you. Holy shit, Reddit's up 12.5%. I've been honestly looking for an opportunity to dump Reddit. Fuck, why is it up so much? When are their earnings? Maybe that's why they had earnings. Q1 earnings roundup. Dang. Maybe I don't. Reddit user nailed it's like sucks because maybe I'd hold on to Reddit. I don't know. All right, whatever. I mean, I bought Reddit down here, so I'm chilling. Or no, I bought it day one, $33. We'll take it. Oh wait, what was I gonna look up? Rocket Lab. Is this oh, this is Super Micro, yeah. Any chip company's doing well right now. What is this one? IXHL? Is this a... What the fuck is this? Up 700%? Bro, like, if this is a pharma company... Newegg? I didn't even know Newegg was public. Nvidia's up 4%. Rigetti Computing. I don't know if I've heard of them. Okay, let's look at we actually have Cisco earnings today. I actually sold out of Cisco. It was my longest holding stock. They paid me good dividends, but they are not moving enough. Rocket Lab up 10% today. That's what I'm talking about. Still done 5% year to date, but only, man, bro, it's just crazy. They're up like 400% in 1 year. I should have bought them earlier. I actually might continue to buy into them though, depending on how their neutron rocket is. So speaking of, let's watch this video. From sci-fi to reality, Rocket Lab's pioneer spacecraft delivers in-space manufacturing. We actually might, I might just fucking continue this. I have another story, or I have another, yeah, I want to take a look at Star Labs, or Star Cloud. They are a company that wants to put cloud computing in space. So we might look at that later. No guarantees. Let's watch this video.
In-space manufacturing may sound like science fiction, but together, Rocket Lab and Varda Space Industries have made this a reality.
Also, hang on. I'm waiting for the SpaceX launch too. Okay, they're live now. Okay, let's just watch this then for now. We'll wait. You see everything? Just making sure. I think it's good. Man, they actually changed the live stream interface. I was streaming on X for a little bit. Alright, we got this. Let's just watch this while we're waiting.
Here's how. Across Varda's 4 missions, our Pioneer spacecraft will provide power, propulsion, communications, and attitude control in orbit. allowing Varda's capsule to leverage microgravity conditions to conduct in-space manufacturing and technology demonstrations. Our first mission for Varda was successfully completed in 2024, proving that the microgravity conditions
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
All right. I'm jumping around too much. Let's just stick to the SpaceX thing and we'll watch everything else afterwards. This is pretty routine for SpaceX. I don't have much context to provide because they've done a bunch of them.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
Buffer. Oh, come on. All right, we're pulling up is NASA live streaming this? I don't know why I clicked on NASA. Let's subscribe to NASA though. Later. Okay, oh, you're space flight now.
Strong back retract.
All right, there we go. Oh, all right, we're back. Jesus.
Back retract has started.
What was that, bro? Okay, so maybe it's like the opposite directions. It's like one over here than from there, so it's like in the shadow because it looks like the shadow are there. Maybe. What the fuck is happening, bro? Are they showing a different rocket launch? I'm so confused. Okay, so 20 seconds. This one says 4 minutes.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Bro, just stay on this one. Jesus. Bro, I'm so confused. NASA's spaceflight already has it taking off. Oh, is it because it's like, is it my mouse that's doing it or some shit, bro? Oh, I don't know what's going on. Bro, fuck Twitter. Fuck X livestream. Okay, I guess we've taken off. Well, that's sound effects from the other stream since because SpaceX doesn't have sound.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Supersonic. Alright. Max Q, maximum aerodynamic pressure. Yo, are you dating Vosh?
Max Q.
No. Like what? Like Vosh, that like political streamer, bro? I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Back chill
I'm
has
sitting here
started.
talking on mute. I was talking
What?
about how great the
Why
sound
would
is,
you?
Ryan. It's one of the things that we love about
Who
the-
are you? Like
the
what?
sound. It's past Max Q. The Falcon 9 is past Max Q. And they've already started the MVAC chill on the second stage.
I haven't
And you
heard
can
that
see
name
the
in a long
plume.
time. What? Like what would you? I don't know. How would you?
of attack of Falcon 9 from our side on view here from the, just outside of Port Canaveral. This tracking by Need Pizza, a few thousand miles away in Europe. So well done, Need Pizza. This is brilliant. But you can see the vehicle now starting to straighten out again because it's getting ready after that dogleg maneuver has been performed from the first stage. There we go, main engine cutoff. It needs to straighten out for a clean separation between the first and second stages, which we should see momentarily, and that will be followed up by the ignition of that second engine on the upper stage. There it
Main
goes.
engine
The
cut off.
Merlin vacuum has
Alright, we got
Stage separation
Miko.
confirmed.
We'll watch the rocket land, and then
I'm
we'll
back startup.
continue with the news.
Yeah, great tracking work, Pizza. Able to catch that, and again, you'll see the two little white dots come off of the little white dot on the right
Bearing
is your
separation
second stage.
confirmed.
The one puffing on the left.
This is a Starlink. They're launching Starlink, so on the right here, it looks like. Yep, there they go. That was a fairings at least, probably.
How it like orients itself, and then the
Both
parachute
vehicles are
deploys
following
and
nominal
lands in the
trajectories.
ocean, and then they go out there and Doug, the name of their ship, Doug. You have to say it like that, Doug.
Yeah, I wonder if they're landing it on the barge or not. I imagine they are if they're going from Cape Canaveral. I guess not necessarily.
basically slowing the vehicle down so it doesn't burn up.
All right. There's not much to commentate on this, I guess. I don't know. Pretty routine. Increase in Starlink. I guess though, like kind of talking about going back to the Star Cloud. This company will have to use SpaceX to get stuff to space. It kind of is, it's so crazy that the two like richest people in the world, like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, are the people funding. They're the only options for heavy lift into space with Blue Origin's New Glenn, although it's pretty unproven still, and Starship being miles ahead of New Glenn. All right, gonna start to burn. I wonder where this is. It's like hella cloudy over this region of Earth. I wish there was like sound too. Like so weird just being silent.
Change shape when they go from that single engine and in the center, and then they do.
All right, entry burn. There it goes.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
And it's actually, as you say, fighting fire with fire. As that speed in the lower left-hand corner is slowing down, it's actually
Stage 1 entry burn
basically
shutdown.
cutting its way back into the atmosphere. And once entry burn shut down, it'll shut down back in the same sequence where they shut off 2, then 1. And now,
Both
once
vehicles are
it has
following
through
nominal
that,
trajectories. Both vehicles are
the,
following
Stage
nominal
2
FTS trajectories. is saved.
through that entry burn, you'll see the grid fins starting to work. And you lose scale. Those grid fins, they, on my screen, they're 1.5 inches. On somebody on your phone, they might be a couple of millimeters. But they're they're substantial, and the ones on Starship are even bigger. And that's all they need to do is they catch the air and they start to guide that and orient it toward the drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas, right, Ryan?
Yeah, that's correct. So, of course, they don't really serve a purpose in the upper atmosphere. It's only when they get to the thicker part of the atmosphere that these grid fins can really start to bite into the air, if you think of it, and then you'll see them start to work. But then, as the vehicle velocity decreases, less air is rushing through those grid fins, which means they then lose effectiveness again. So they are only really effective.
I mean, you could see it going, the altitude here compared. Also, look at the speed difference. That's so crazy how fast they're going up in space.
Stage 1 landing burn.
All right, suicide burn.
Stage 2 terminal guidance.
Slow down. See the fins moving.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Such a good view. Perfect. A little wobbly. It's pretty routine for them now, which is kind of crazy to come and land back. Or is that it? That's all they're gonna show?
This is what will insert the Starlinks into their initial orbit.
We got second engine cut off. Where are they actually deploying here?
Back shut down.
All right. This is kind of why I don't watch them on stream though. Like, unless it's like an exciting one, it's pretty routine. Like, they didn't even have commentators or nothing. It's just like, yep, send it up. Send her up. Okay, let's actually finish this now. Jeez. This is Rocket Labs. From sci-fi to reality, Rocket Labs pioneer spacecraft delivers in-space manufacturing. And Rocket Lab stock is ripping today. We're up 10%. Down a little bit now. It's, you know, as expected throughout the trading day. Yeah, I just want to look at HUAWEI because I didn't even know they're a public company. Like, when did they IPO? Oh, did they just IPO? Oh, no, okay. Damn, they've been hella down. Why are they up so much today? Like, they literally called them a penny stock. Yeah, why are they up? This is, like, so sus. Like, look at the trading volume even. It's insane. Okay. Yeah, Rocket Lab stock's ripping today, so...
In-space manufacturing
I do own the Rocket Lab stock.
may sound like science fiction, but together, Rocket Lab and Varda Space Industries have made this a reality.
Okay, Varda Space Industries. Whoops. 120 kilogram capsule with propulsion, communication. Spaceborne, Earthbound. W3 has returned to Earth. Okay, so I have heard of this company, but I've never actually like seen, because I've heard of the pharma in space, pharma manufacturing. I just yeah, this is like a stretch. Solutions. Like, government gained flight heritage with frequent re-entry. Hypersonic flight testbed. Is the off-the-shelf method to reproduce the most challenging hypersonic and re-entry flight environments without building a costly, dedicated, representative test vehicle. We just watched yesterday about how Strato launch. They just finished a full hypersonic vehicle testbed. That is more space plane-esque versus like a pod like this. But they already did this. They built a dedicated like test vehicle. You gain flight heritage through Mach 25, Jesus, and advance your TRL. TRL, train. I'm not sure what that means. It's interesting that this is what they're selling, though. Portable, frequent, recoverable, hypersonic flight testing, but they want to like manufacture stuff in space. Gain flight heritage where it matters, the most confident in transitioning capability. By 2026, Varda expects a monthly re-entry cadence between government and commercial demand. Wow. One thing that I think is underrated for startups like this, especially space startups, we've looked at a lot of space startups. A lot of them have never even launched anything yet. And I think it is underrated how much experience and data you get from just a single launch, even if it's not the best. So the fact that Varda is going to have, by 2026, expecting a monthly re-entry cadence, like, so that means they're likely launching at least monthly as well, or enough launches to have them come down, you know, come to Space Out, come down and have it be monthly returning. But regardless, it's just a lot of launch experience that they're gaining over everyone else. And I think that is just, that experience, if you're doing everything yourself, is just very valuable. That's like competitive advantage. And this is SpaceX. Interesting. So I don't know what they're focusing on though. Like, are they focusing on like hypersonic? I wonder if there's like, wait, let's actually look at the biopharma real quick and then we'll continue that video. Microgravity enables differentiated drug products. I was like, I wonder if there's something specifically while being hypersonic that helps them manufacture stuff. I guess, how does a hypersonic platform relate to the pharma, unless it's just a way to just like some other side effect that they happen to have with manufacturing in space. Differentiated drug products. Formulation challenges limit access to key therapies for patients. Processing in microgravity can be the solution. Hypergravity platform. Processing materials in the near weightless conditions found in space offers unique environments that's impossible to replicate on Earth. Gravity impacts many chemical processes, including how we make medicines. Microgravity represents connective currents, buoyancy, and sedimentation. A flame on Earth versus a flame on the International Space Station. Interesting. Not sure what that's exactly supposed to show us, besides how it's different. We have hypergravity. Terrestrial's hypergravity testing unlocks commercial opportunities for in-space production. So it allows, Varda's capsule allows process development in orbit with return of materials to Earth. To conduct testing in orbit, Varda handles each step for our customers. I don't really get exactly yet. I need to see an example. Might be a future place, but I'll add this to a startups list here. I like their website design too. It's pretty sleek. What? Sorry, I need a... How'd I get logged out of Raindrop? Let me lock this. All right. Can't have my Can't have my password manager unlocked while I'm streaming. My personal rule. No information's being leaked. Okay. Anyways, this is Varda. This is what we just looked at. This company is gonna go into startups. And I also want to add a space. This company we just looked at, this is who Rocket Lab's partnering with, likely launching and maybe even manufacturing them, since Rocket Labs is a full-service space provider.
Across Varda's 4 missions, our Pioneer spacecraft will provide power, propulsion, communications, and attitude control in orbit, allowing Varda's capsule to leverage microgravity conditions to conduct in-space manufacturing and technology demonstrations. Our first mission for Varda was successfully completed in 2024, proving that the microgravity conditions in space can support pharmaceutical processing, delivering results that are challenging to replicate on the ground.
I'm thinking about this a little bit more in like with the crystallization, and I could see it. I think the flame example is like, I feel like on Earth, it's harder to like grow certain things because gravity's kind of maybe like working against it, and it could grow like better quality or something. You know, it could crystallize in a more efficient way in space, making the medicine like better potentially. Like I could see that. I could see something like that.
Bringing the capsule back to Earth starts with a maneuver to transition the spacecraft from its 500-kilometer circular orbit to an elliptical one. We light up the spacecraft engine for a burn in the opposite direction to slow things down. This drops our perigee, or the point at which we pass closest to Earth, to 300 kilometers. A second engine burn will then raise the orbit's apogee, the point at which the spacecraft passes furthest from the Earth, all the way up to 900 kilometers. Rocket Lab and Varda operators in mission control will be monitoring this closely. As soon as the desired landing location on Earth lines up with the re-entry path for our spacecraft, it will be all systems go. The Pioneer spacecraft will perform a third engine burn of the 3D printed Curie engine to set the Varda capsule on its return trajectory to Earth. During that descent, a fourth burn can occur out of our line of sight to keep the mission on target if an adjustment to the trajectory is needed. Returning at hypersonic speeds at roughly 31,000 kilometers an hour, our spacecraft will release the Varda capsule at an approximate 470 kilometer altitude. This is the moment.
I wonder if the other part just burns up, or they probably can't reuse it now that it's due to the orbit they put it in.
A success for Rocket Lab and our spacecraft. Then it's over to the Varda team to monitor the final re-entry, descent, landing, and recovery of the capsule once it reaches the ground. And just like that, from 900 kilometers above Earth to touchdown in South Australia, all in the space of just 15 minutes. The new era in space manufacturing continues.
All right. It didn't provide that much, but... And then we might watch this. I'll add this to the queue. We might watch this later. Okay, same with this. This is actually another space. This is relativity space. I wish I put this in the title. Today's a space day. We won't actually watch this now, but we might watch this later. Okay, let's get into actual news today. Let's start with HUAWEI, and then we'll move on to the Copyright Office. U.S. scraps AI diffusion rule, revamps Biden-era chip curbs, and then U.S. hardens stance on HUAWEI AI chips. Now we've covered the HUAWEI AI chips pretty in depth, actually. Maybe 2-3 weeks ago. You could look at the VODs. It'll be in the title if you want to watch. Their new chips are a replacement for the H20 that NVIDIA can't sell now to China due to Trump's license and export restrictions on chips. HUAWEI stepped in the day after it was announced and announced their new chip that is pretty much on par about with the H100, but it uses more power. Let's actually just look it up. HUAWEI 920D AI chip. Yep, this is the actual exact article we looked at. Yeah, compared to the comparable to the H20, and the H20 was around what the H100 was. It uses more power. Yeah, so it says the its current AI chip, the 910C, delivers 60% of the competing NVIDIA H100. On the other hand, the 920 expected 900 teraflops, 4 terabytes. 920C variant is built for transformer and mixture of expert models. Mixture of expert models is what DeepSeek uses. Makes sense. Which will also report efficient about 30 to 40% compared to its predecessor. Which brings it, increase of 60% from 30 to 40% is about in line with the H100. That's kind of what I'm taking from this. But it uses more power, which is a notable. And to the Western companies, to the Western world, that matters. But China is just burning coal, baby. They have nuclear, they have, their dam projects. Like, they have so much more power than most other nations. So it doesn't really matter. Whoops. Power doesn't really matter to them, I guess, is the point. So they could use that. Now, it sucks for NVIDIA because now they're a pawn in the AI race, in the political battle, I guess, the political war that's happening with United States and China over many things. Let's be real, it's not just tariffs. It's chips, it is tariffs, it's AI, it's cybersecurity, cyber warfare. There's a lot of things happening that China's doing right now. So this getting rid of the Biden era diffusion rule is likely a way to kind of release the gates a bit to, NVIDIA wants to continue selling to other people in the world. And I think, I don't know how much that would will actually slow, if that will put us behind in the AI race is I guess my point. I don't know how much that will hurt the United States, if at all, potentially, but NVIDIA's chips are being used as bargaining power throughout the world. Clearly Trump is using that. This is the just meeting in Saudi Arabia. This is ex-Aramco digital services, head of digital services for Aramco, which Aramco is Saudi Arabia's oil company, which is one of the most profitable companies in the history of the world. But, NVIDIA, Jensen here, is just being used as a pawn now to give chips when Trump wants them to, it seems like. I don't know. This is a speculation, but I swear I've had this thought in the past. I'm actually just looking at Daring Fireball AI chips. I swear I'm just having a deja vu right now. And I sort of talked about this exact same thing months ago. This is 2024. I'm not sure. This isn't it. Anyways, yeah, the NVIDIA is just being used as a political pawn. But with the Trump administration saying that it's illegal now to use the new HUAWEI chips, that is kind of crazy. That is crazy. Because clearly he still wants NVIDIA to get, America to get the business. And Sam Altman, in front of Congress, recently said that it's important that other countries who want to use our AI are using the full American AI stack down to the chip, up to, the interface they're using it in, i.e. ChatGPT. So, okay, let's read this. U.S. scraps AI diffusion rule and revamp of Biden-era chip curbs. tech companies, including Microsoft and Oracle, had spoken out against the rule. US has revamped Biden era rules on artificial intelligence chips, scrapping a measure that had been unpopular with technology firms like Nvidia, which welcomed the move. That's why we're getting Nvidia pumping today. And Supermicro up 17% because now they could sell to more of the world, likely. Also, NVDL is finally up 7%. I broke even on, I own 2 shares of this just for shits and giggles, and I finally broke even. But Nvidia is up today, likely because of this rule. Oh my god, Yahoo Finance. Let's see what Nvidia's up 3.8%. It's pretty good. Been doing pretty good these past few days with news. Look at this volume. This is so funny. It's like the start of the day just skyrockets, but volume is very high today, likely due to this rule. Okay, so the Department of Commerce said in a statement Tuesday that it is rescinding the AI diffusion rule on the grounds that it would have stifled American innovation, saddled companies with onerous regulations, and undermined diplomatic relations with dozens of countries. Yeah, and saddled with companies with onerous regulations and undermined diplomatic relations. Undermine diplomatic relations? This is to me, this is a key word here. Because this is, I might be thinking into it too much, but let's just entertain the idea. This is what Trump administration wants to use chips as a political leverage. If they can't give chips to the people they deem worthy, i.e. Saudi Arabia, then to them, it's, you know, as self-centered as Trump is, if Trump can't do what he wants, then the rule is bad. So the fact that Trump likely couldn't give chips to anyone he wanted when it might be a national security risk, he probably wants to undo it. That's what I'm reading this as. Nvidia said that it welcomed the Trump administration's leadership and new direction on AI policy. And it's hard because everyone who has a leading voice in this all has the incentives to say what they are saying, and so it's hard to find someone who isn't like incentivized to take a position one way or another. Though, I mean, hey, what's up? How's it going? We're covering this US scraps AI diffusion rule right now. The fact that everyone is incentivized to say to talk about this in, you know, their position, I guess, like Nvidia is obviously they want to get rid of this because Jensen, Nvidia CEO, wants to sell things to other countries that have been restricted by the AI diffusion rules. Sam Altman's gonna say that we want, you know, everyone on the American tech stack because, you know, it's likely in his best interest, also the country's arguably. But regardless, it's like he's the guy like leading the charge, so it's hard to like fully, not necessarily trust, but I guess trust. I've said before, Sam Altman's hard to trust. Trust everything he's saying. In that's the best, it's in the best interest for like America and yourself. So I guess like it's like, to me it seems that selling chips to people, to countries that may go against us in the future, or like somehow smuggle chips into China, or just do something that goes against us, just seems much higher. And it seems like that's not going to be the best direction if America wants to win the AI race. And you could swap out America for any other country, you know, has chips as political leverage. China. maybe other countries. I see India here, but let's keep reading now. I guess I just want to say that we're reading comments on these company or from like the companies, but like the companies are incentivized to say what they're saying. So it's like, with the AI diffusion rule revoked, America will have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to lead the next industrial revolution and create high-paying U.S. jobs, build new U.S.-supplied infrastructure, and alleviate the trade deficit, a company spokesperson told the Wall Street Journal on Wednesday. Tech companies, including Microsoft and Oracle, had spoken out against the rule, which imposed caps on how many chips countries such as India and Switzerland can buy, saying that the move would limit U.S. firms' opportunities abroad without doing much to hamper China, the main target of tightening controls. And I guess some like my logic kind of with this too is that, like, I feel like if Nvidia could only, let's say Nvidia could make 1 million chips in a year. I don't know how much they can make. I'm just like, let's say they can make 1 million. If only American companies and allies, and I guess like now let's think about if only Western countries, if Western countries could, what's the word I'm trying to say? If Nvidia's supply could be fully bought by Western demand, then why even go to these other countries and give chips to them? Like if Microsoft, if American and Western allied countries were like, we'll buy every chip you can make to Nvidia, what does it matter to Nvidia, I guess? I'm thinking about this more, and it's likely the other services that Nvidia sells that like go around the chip. So like I know Nvidia has a lot of software. They're very deep in software, and so likely if they want to sell, if they want, like they gave 18,000 chips to, you know, HUAWEI or the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund or Sovereign Wealth Fund, whatever you want to call it. There's likely more business than just the chips because they're gonna want the software. There's likely networking they could sell to them. If this is going into some, you know, bigger data center, which it is, then they could sell, you know, like other equipment around that. And so I think I'm answering my own question, but I think that's likely why. In that it's, you know, the American market's kind of probably saturated a bit. But I kind of still think if Nvidia's chip demand could be fully bought by Western companies, then like it seems like in the best interest in the AI race to do that. And Nvidia could just still sell as many chips as they want. Like, okay, with the AI fusion rule revoked. Oh, I already read this. Yeah, tech companies, including Microsoft and Oracle, had spoken out against the rule, which imposed caps on how many chips countries such as India and Switzerland can buy, saying the move would limit U.S. firms' opportunities abroad without doing much to hamper China, the main target of tightening controls. The Trump administration will pursue a bold, inclusive strategy to American AI technology with trusted foreign countries around the world while keeping the technology out of the hands of our adversaries, said Jeffrey Kessler, U.S. Undersecretary of Commerce for Industry and Security. Yeah, trusted foreign countries around the world. Is Saudi Arabia trusted country though, like to the United States? Like they killed a fucking journalist straight up, you know? Like straight up. Washington Post. The announcement also took aim at Chinese tech giant HUAWEI, and this I feel like is the real story here is HUAWEI, because this is who Nvidia is kind of competing against. Now, I don't know if like Europe or like other like more closer allies to the Western world would buy Huawei chips because I think they also see it definitely as a security threat. But Huawei is who Nvidia is really competing against right now. The announcement also took aim at Chinese tech giant Huawei, stating that using Huawei to send chips anywhere in the world violates U.S. export controls. The Bureau of Industry and Security, a Commerce Department agency, said it will warn the public about the potential consequences of allowing American chips to be used for Chinese AI models. Wow. And I wonder what that constitutes as like violates US export controls. It's kind of ironic from the Trump administration that they keep not wanting to play the world police except when it benefits them. I guess that's just America in general, let's be real. But maybe specifically Republicans. You know, they're playing world police with this chip shit, but it's like, okay, they don't want to, you know, keep supporting Ukraine, and they want to end Israel. Like, I don't know. Anyways. Huawei didn't respond to an email request for comment. Rick Hsu, an analyst at Daiwa, noted that the Chinese company's advanced chips are only sold locally, and demand for them far outweighs supply. So Huawei should be able to continue doing business there with or without any changes in the export controls, Hsu said. Interesting. And that's how I see Nvidia to America, though, is that I imagine that domestic supply with Nvidia has to be more than what they're producing. And so the fact that then now they're going overseas to sell to non-American countries, when I imagine that, you know, if you offered Microsoft or Meta or Oracle or OpenAI, Anthropic, Amazon, you know, Google, those are just the biggest companies. If you said like, hey, like, can you guys like take on another like 100,000 chips? I'm sure they'd be like, fuck yes. And be like, now. Maybe not, but. And so I guess Huawei like him saying that to Huawei, I just think that Nvidia would also be in the same situation with America, but maybe not. Okay. Focus will now be on how Trump administration refashions the diffusion rule, which will take a couple of months. Wall Street Journal reported this month. Policymakers are weighing how to block adversaries such as China from accessing advanced chips without hurting U.S. companies. Too late. Nvidia took a $5 billion write-off. AMD $800 million. Like, you already hurt those companies. Nvidia has earnings in 2 weeks, the 28th. So that is when we'll be able to see. Yeah, May 28th. It'll be a big day. That is a Wednesday, so we'll cover it Wednesday or Thursday. I might even, if it's aftermarket, might listen to it live. I keep getting lost. The change is a big win for countries previously limited from buying U.S. chips, notably Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Singapore, and Israel, Morningstar analyst Felix Lee said. It's interesting that Israel is on there because a lot of Israel has a lot of tech talent. Like, they have a lot of research and development. That is where Ilya Sutskever, I'm pretty sure, who's the co-founder, you know, who's like chief researcher at OpenAI, who now created his own company, Superintelligence. He's from Israel. Descartes AI, which did the generative Minecraft. They are an Israeli company. Those are just two off the top of my head. I know that there's more, but I'm surprised that Israel is on that list. But I think everyone's just kind of fucking over Israel right now. Like, anyways. So yeah, Saudi Arabia, which they already said that they're going to get 18,000 chips. The UAE, which is, I think in a similar position. I want to say there was a headline recently. Yep, here we go. A million. A million. A million, bro. I was like, hypothetically, I was like, let's say Nvidia makes, it's like, and yeah, here's this one. Approves arms sales to UAE before Trump's visit. This is CNN. I mean, like, I'm not the biggest CNN fan, but yeah. Here's Aramco. What I was talking about. Anyways, UAE is another big one that for chips. But again, the UAE is like kind of neutral, but like I do think that they would lean more towards China's influence than America, just based off of like values. China's a bit more authoritarian. I think, what is the UAE, like a monarchy or some shit? Like, I also learned that Abu Dhabi and Dubai are different cities recently. What is their government considered? Federal semi-constitutional monarchy. Like, you don't vote. Yeah, it's like a federal constitutional monarchy. Like, those combinations just don't go together. From Federation of 7 hereditary tribal monarchy-styled political units called fiefdoms. Maybe that's what we have too. I swear we don't have a maybe not. Federal is what we do have. Okay, anyways. Singapore is also interesting because Singapore is a in between from China and the United States. It's like a neutral territory. So, for example, TikTok stores their data in Singapore to avoid storing in China and also not store in the United States. So Singapore is kind of a wild card here, I feel like. It also is set to benefit USA AI players like NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel. Yeah, mainly NVIDIA. Intel's going through some growing pains right now with their new CEO. I actually did see a headline about yeah, it says Intel CFO says committed volumes of chips using kind of their newer process for customers are not significant. So they're not making that many chips right now. Now it says, okay, for China's chip makers and AI companies, the changes are likely to have only a limited impact as they are already banned from accessing US tech and equipment, Lee said. I mean, yeah. It's not like this changes anything for them. The news comes as President Trump tours the Middle East and a number of US tech companies announced AI deals in the region. The diffusion rule literally restricted the diffusion or proliferation of American technology all over the world, David Sachs, Trump's AI and crypto czar, said at the Saudi US Investment Forum, adding that there is no risk with friends like Saudi Arabia. I actually do have I've been thinking, but I have a little bit more of an explanation, I think, of why they're pushing this more, and I'll share it after we finish the article. The original reason for this diffusion rule is that we have a policy of not wanting our advanced semiconductors to go to what are known as countries of concern, he added. I actually genuinely don't get, this is crazy. 3 countries? Like, I want to see the other countries that now are allowed with this diffusion rule. City analysts think the Trump administration could take a country-by-country approach by negotiating new chip export rules. Though NVIDIA and others have announced chip deals in Saudi Arabia, it's unclear if that will be replicated elsewhere, they said. The risk of tighter access to US AI chips for other key countries remains. Sam Altman recently said, Sam Altman, Congress.
Mr. Trader. Inputs to these AI systems. There's compute.
Yeah, so this is right here. This is it right here. Sam Altman recently said, so I guess I'm going back to why would America want to give chips to other countries when it could likely American countries would happily buy those chips? I was like, for business, I'm sure with Nvidia it could be better growth, so you could sell chips to people, which then you could sell software, networking equipment, kind of down the Nvidia stack, which if you were to sell chips, if you were to sell domestically, likely just the companies buying the chips are already integrated in Nvidia's stack, and so there's likely less value to come from selling like a chip to an American company than it would be to someone overseas, because they can make more money from it. The margins are probably better. Now, from a more political standpoint, Trump is using this as leverage for tariffs, I guess. Just leverage in general, just political leverage. But now the AI play, the more specific to AI play here is, I think, with OpenAI countries and such, in the democratic versus like non-democratic, I'm calling it like communist AI. But I think it's more so authoritarian AI is a better way to put it instead of communist. More authoritarian AI models. And when I say what I mean by that more specifically even is just it being not like full free speech, I guess. Like you can't talk about, controversies in China. You can't talk about Xi Jinping. Like I got banned from DeepSeek for asking about COVID. Just like shit like that. Whereas like democratic, quote unquote, AI was just like, it doesn't matter. It's just like, we want the facts. Theoretically. Now there's more influence to be had, it seems like, with these chips. We want companies to be on American made chips because we don't want them to be on China's chips, on Chinese chips, i.e. Huawei. And that's what Trump's administration is kind of flexing the fact that if using Huawei's artificial intelligence chips anywhere in the world could incur criminal penalties because they violate U.S. export controls. Them flexing this is like a threat to be like, yo, buy some Nvidia chips, some AMD, Intel, mainly Nvidia because AMD and Intel are just far behind, but and Sam Altman kind of said that himself in the sense that we need countries to be on the full stack of American AI hardware and software
systems. There are three. A more specific answer. To give a more specific answer to your previous question, which I think touches on why it would be so bad, there are three key inputs to these AI systems. There's compute,
where's
all the infrastructure we're talking about. There's algorithms that we all do research on, and there's data. If you don't have any one of those, you cannot succeed in making the best models. And as Brad said, the way for America to influence the world here is to have the technology that people most want to use and most adopt. The world uses iPhones and Google and Microsoft products.
Yep.
And that's wonderful. Like that's how we have our influence. We don't want that.
This is what I'm saying, bro. Data centers, they're similar. They're a way to assert influence. And specifically Sam Altman, he wants the world to be using OpenAI as their, artificial intelligence backbone.
That to stop happening. So systems that stop us on any of these areas, if we have rules about what data we can train on that are not competitive with the rest of the world, then things can fall apart. If we are not able to build the infrastructure, and particularly if we're not able to manufacture the chips in this country, the rules can fall apart. If we can't build the products that people want, that naturally win in the market, and I think people do want to use American products, we can make them the best. But if we're prevented from doing that, people will use a better product made from somebody else that doesn't have the
i.e. China.
That is not stymied in the same way. So it is, I am nervous about standards being set too early. I'm totally fine, with the position some of my colleagues took.
Yeah, I actually agree with the standards being set too early. That is a legit. It's actually bad for competition, I actually think, because standards being set too early, and you could say standards or regulation like intertwined, but it could lock out new players into the industry because of the regulatory and like standardization compliance that needs to happen to just make anything. It's going to slow things down when we kind of need to keep our pace. There is downsides to that, like it's, but if this is really a race and winning does matter, and it matters if you want Western society to continue, then maybe it's important. that's like a downside that's probably worth it to keep things easy for now.
That standards, once the industry figures out what they should be, it's fine for them to be adopted by a government body and sort of made more official. But I believe the industry is moving quickly towards figuring out the right protocols and standards here.
Yeah, and the industry will figure it out themselves, whether that's good or bad. Again, it could lean towards bad, because if someone like OpenAI is setting the standard, then it's likely going to benefit the most OpenAI or just the largest AI companies. And we want competition. We still want competition. That's I feel like that is the race. The fact that we do have very tight competition now is helping us move much quicker.
And we need the space to innovate and to move quickly.
So if each of you could briefly answer that question, because my time's expired, so I want to be respectful of that.
I agree with the comments that Tim put
up. I agree, and I would just say, and I think the point you're making is we have to be very careful not to have these pre-approval requirements, including at state levels, because that would really slow innovation in the country.
Yeah, this actually wasn't the video I was looking for, but it was similar. There's one more. Let's just look at it real quick because it's super relevant. Jesus Christ, bro. They upload so many fucking videos. These are all just 2 hours ago. I'm just scrolling, bro. We're on what page now? Jesus Christ, bro. This is like not even a day ago. And they're up for like... Bro, do they know how YouTube throttles videos after you upload so much? I guess they don't really care. I'm not even going to find it from scrolling here. Fucking Fetterman wearing a Carhartt hoodie. This is it.
Senator Kemp.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Smith, I think I'd like to start with you, because I thought your point...
I think it's heavily interrelated. To me, the stack is, from the
this is what I was talking about here.
U.S., or is it interrelated?
I think it's
getting the rest of the world framework. Is that part of what you just said in your previous response? Was that we want other nations to be able to build upon the U.S. AI stack? Is that the right framework? Is that what we're thinking about? Or is it more about the consumer? Is it more about getting the rest of the world and the 78% of the population to adopt AI applications that are U.S., or is it interrelated?
I think it's heavily interrelated. To me, the stack is, from the chips at the bottom to the applications on the top.
Yeah. And this is what I'm talking about, where Sam Altman says that it's in the best interest for other countries to use the full American stack for AI. And if we want to if we want to continue pushing influence, then I agree. I think that is the best. We can't have any holes where some sort of security threat or some other entity could thwart, could sabotage somewhere in the stack, I guess. So if we're using a chip from a company we don't trust, but then, on top of it, you're using like American AI and blah, 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 whatever, all American stuff around it, but like a specific one that's like not trusted, then that, wherever that not trusted piece is, and that, everything above that would be compromised theoretically, or below it would be compromised. So
top, and we want the whole world on the U.S. stack. We want them to use U.S. chips. We want them to use services like ChatGPT.
But does having other nations building on the infrastructure component of the stack, does that more or less than guarantee or at least have a high likelihood that then the consumers in that country will be using our products and applications? Is that the sort of theory of the case?
It probably does make it marginally more likely, but I also think if someone's using a stack that we don't trust to train models, like who knows what it's going to do, who knows what sort of backdoors would be possible, who knows what sort of data corruption issues could be possible. I think the AI stack is increasingly going to be a jointly designed system from the chip all the way up to the end consumer product, and lots of stuff in between. I think separating that won't work that well in practice, and we shouldn't want to. Like, again, I think this point, this is a very critical point, that the leverage and the power the U.S. gets from having iPhones be the mobile device people most want, and Google being the search engine that people most want around the world is huge. We talk maybe less about how much people want to use chips and other infrastructure developed here, but I think it's no less important. And we should aim to have the entire U.S. stack be adopted by as much of the world as possible.
Yeah, I mean, when we are looking at, you're talking about our investment into models and building of that nature, how are we doing in terms of development of the application, the AI tools and applications, though, that are trying to embed in people's lives? Not necessarily just the overarching models, but do you feel like we're putting the level of intensity that we need to in terms of that type of development?
ChatGPT is the most adopted AI service in the world, not just in the United States, but in the world by a quite significant margin. We're very proud that people like it, and we need to keep pushing on that. I think it's important for all the reasons you just discussed. There are many other U.S. companies building incredible products and services that are also getting globally adopted. This is what the U.S. does best.
Dr. Su, I want to just ask one last point to you.
Not wrong.
Over and over again, each of you is talking about talent as this incredible power, but also could be a bottleneck to us. How are we doing when it comes to the development of talent in this country? If you were to give us a grade, what would you grade us at in terms of our development right now?
Thank you, Senator, for the question.
All right, let's continue. But yeah, I think we get the point. Let's just read this here. It says, Trump administration is hardening its stance on advanced Chinese tech, telling companies that using Huawei's artificial intelligence chips anywhere in the world could incur criminal penalties because they violate U.S. export controls. Despite Washington targeting Huawei for years, yes, I'm pretty sure we put out an arrest warrant for Huawei way back after we figured out that there was like their telecom equipment that a lot of the world was using. There's like backdoors in it potentially. And then Canada actually arrested one of the executives, which is like, it was like a son or daughter of the CEO or something. Like there's like some drama like that. So like, I guess Huawei's kind of just always been on the hit list. I actually have a Huawei tablet. I bought a Huawei tablet years ago. It's probably almost 10 years ago. That's the only thing Huawei I've ever had. I got a Xiaomi. I got a smartwatch by Xiaomi years ago too. Yeah, despite Washington targeting Huawei for years in an effort to stymie its ability to innovate, the company has flourished, especially in the domestic market. And Washington has grown increasingly concerned that the Chinese tech giant could soon compete with American rival Nvidia on the global stage. I guess, like, who would buy Huawei chips besides just obvious allies to China? Maybe that's it. Like, why would, like, Germany be like, you know what? Let's buy 10,000 Huawei chip, like, that just wouldn't happen. The new guidelines issued alongside a rollback of Biden administration measures to limit U.S. exports of advanced chips came as U.S. President Donald Trump, alongside a cadre of American tech CEOs, visited Saudi Arabia with multiple big U.S. chip makers announcing AI deals in the region. All right, now let's watch this, actually. So this is Tariq Amin and Jensen Huang. Tariq Amin now is running HUAWEI, and he's ex-head of digital services at Aramco. Yeah, head up. Forbes first broke the news that Amin, who left Rakuten Symphony in 2023, head up Saudi oil giant Aramco's digital unit, was jumping ship again to take over HUAWEI, citing multiple sources. Yes. I wonder what this guy's background is. What is Rakuten Symphony? Is that like a actual like symphony? Technology company based in Singapore that focuses on providing intelligent growth solutions. I don't get what this company does. They're telecom? Okay, interesting. Anyways, so this guy now is the head of HUAWEI, the Saudis' domestic AI company. And we got Jensen Huang here in the suit, which one of my latest shorts, I was like, bro, Jensen Huang wearing a suit is a cry for help. That's him being like borderline being held hostage.
Well, first of all, Jensen, thank you very much for being with us today. Today is really...
Congratulations, Tarek. Yesterday was the announcement, the grand opening
of HUAWEI.
Of HUAWEI.
Thank you very much.
We're delighted to partner with you. It was I'm honored and
this is Jensen taking control of the situation.
Delighted to have watched you form HUAWEI, and now this is Saudi Arabia's AI company.
Thank you very much. And maybe we should share with everybody one of the most important thing. In building any AI company, you need the foundation and the infrastructure. And this infrastructure really rely very heavily on advanced chipsets and accelerated compute. Today we are announcing that we're doing a 500 megawatt deployment with NVIDIA. It's a really, really big initiative for the kingdom. And I wanted Jensen just...
His hair is so interesting. It's like gray in the front, and then it goes to blonde, and then like black brown.
Give you a thought and idea about the innovation that NVIDIA is bringing to Saudi Arabia and to the global AI ecosystem.
You want me to talk about this?
Yes.
So this thing is sitting over here. I don't know if you guys can see it. It weighs too much to pick up, but this is 2 Blackwells, and it's 2,500 watts, 2,500.
Jesus
out of
Christ, bro! This thing is 2,500 watts, 2.5 kilowatts, bro.
100 gigawatts of computing infrastructure that's going to be built. As you know, artificial intelligence has been a revolutionary technology. The most transformative technology of our time, maybe of any time. And you've heard plenty about the capabilities of artificial intelligence. You've also heard how AI is going to transform every single industry, meaning that it's going to be the infrastructure of every single industry. And HUAWEI is going to be building the AI infrastructure here in Saudi Arabia. But what people don't realize
look at Jensen's shoes, though, bro.
Technologies that are transformative, AI is also in itself an industry. It is a manufacturing industry. It's a manufacturing industry that requires energy. And as you know, Saudi Arabia is rich with energy.
Yeah.
Transforming the energy
oil,
through
Aramco.
Giant versions of these NVIDIA AI supercomputers, which are essentially AI factories. Energy powers these AI factories. Artificial intelligence tokens are generated, and those tokens are reformulated into applications and problem-solving AIs that Tarek and HUAWEI will create for Saudi Arabia and the rest of the world.
Yeah, we're very, very excited, Jensen. So once we address the infrastructure layer, of course, the innovation that would come is the models, and we've seen all of the things that are happening in generative AI, and we're super excited about it. But I've also heard you talk about something else, the physical world and physical AI. Would you mind just giving a perspective on how
like
this
Omniverse
relationship between generative AI,
or
the physical AI, and the platforms that NVIDIA is providing to HUAWEI?
Well, over the last 12 years...
Yeah, I'd see this is where NVIDIA makes, like, software, the margin on software, I think, is just a lot better, but I feel like this is what NVIDIA wants. They want to go and sell not only chips, but then all the things surrounding the chips, like the software, other supplementary hardware. That's probably where like the upselling comes, and that's why they want to sell to other countries, not just domestic.
Both been involved in the development of the AI industry. Technology went from the first time you saw AI was perception AI. AIs that can recognize cats and words and sounds and speech. Perception AI evolved into generative AI. You can now use words to generate words or words to generate images, words to generate chemicals and proteins, generative AI. Then the third era, which is the era we're in right now, is AI technology that can reason. And the formulation, the application of that capability is agentic AI. AI that can have agency. It can use tools, it can reason, it can solve problems. Essentially a digital robot that sits inside the computer. The next era, the era that we're working on now, is AIs that
He's like, whoa, don't get too close, don't get too close.
Physics, the rules,
can't be
the
releasing
common sense of the
secrets
physical
here.
world. That if you tip over a bottle, that it would fall. It would understand gravity and inertia and cause and effect and object permanence and occlusion and so on and so forth. The things that all of us humans understand common sense about the physical world. That next generation of physical AI, along with all of the technology that has already been created, could be embodied into a physical form. And that physical form
Humanoid
would be
robot.
robotics. So the era of AI is moving incredibly fast. We're in an agentic AI world today, and we're in the robotics world or physical AI shortly from now.
Jensen, I wish we have so much more time to spend because it's really a privilege to have you here. On behalf of myself, our team, we're really humbled that we're working together to create what the future AI factories would look like. HUAWEI really started by a vision by His Royal Highness to really play in the AI total value chain, building massive.
Yes, His Royal Highness was like, I want. I can't even make something up to say, bro.
Capacity data centers.
He's like, I want high capacity AI factory data center.
So we'll go to 1.9 gigawatt by 2030, advancing the AI chips, the cloud, models, application solutions. And I want to really thank you. I know it was a long trip from you coming to the US. I am really thankful for you coming and participating in this event.
And Tarek, I am so delighted to be here to help celebrate the grand opening, the beginning of HUAWEI. It is an incredible vision indeed that Saudi Arabia should build the AI infrastructure of your nation so that you could participate and help shape the future of this incredibly transformative technology for the nation of Saudi Arabia.
Thank you very
much.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Now, this is, even though this isn't OpenAI, this is what OpenAI for Countries wants to do. They want to go in, provide infrastructure in your country, and provide localized AI for you. HUAWEI is going to have an Arabic large language model that they're calling Alam, which I think the name fits so well. Yeah, Suda Jensen, big deal. I'm not gonna. I was like, Suda Jensen equals a cry for help. This is what OpenAI for Countries is going to do, but now this is, Saudi Arabia's kind of doing it themselves with America's help. So I think that this is it's interesting to follow this to see how it plays out. Now, this is a bit of a different because Saudi Arabia is rich, and I think OpenAI is like, potentially going to countries that like don't have practically unlimited money to spend on things. So, but I think what Saudi Arabia is doing is what OpenAI wants to do for other countries. So, for when OpenAI says OpenAI for Countries. All right, we spent a lot of time on this story, but I think it's interesting. This is what's leading a lot of things right now. So, yeah. All right, let's talk about what's my title? Yeah, we'll talk about this DataBricks story, and then we'll jump into copyright. DataBricks to buy startup Neon for $1 billion. So DataBricks. So Neon is a database company, neon.tech. They are a database as a service company. I don't know if we have any devs in the, watch the stream, but Neon competes with someone like Supabase. They compete with someone like Amazon's RDS. Any database provider they kind of compete with. Now, their differentiation was that it is a serverless platform, so you only pay for what you use. And so it's like theoretically cheaper. And I'm using quotes because it's like, it just depends. But more notably is that they were selling, they were like licensing their service. Add Neon to your platform. And notably, I don't know why that link wasn't working. Notably, Vercel, which is one of the largest kind of like development platforms, Neon sold their service to Vercel. Yep, we got Vercel. Yeah, Replit, which Replit is big in the AI coding agents right now. Cloudflare. Although I think Cloudflare is more so you could use it in Cloudflare Workers, if you guys are familiar. Koyeb's another like hosting. Anyways, now that Databricks bought them, and Databricks is a big data analytics company. Like, they're like an AI company now, but like anyone in data science and like big data is like pretty much been in AI. But notably also, they raised like a Series J or some shit, like, which is crazy. Like, bro, just go public at that point. But Databricks, I think, competes closely with Snowflake. Wait, is Databricks public? No, okay. Databricks competes with like Snowflake, which is another data warehouse, big data company. It's founded by the creators of Apache Spark, which is again an analytics engine, big data stuff. Yeah, pioneered the data lakehouse. All these names for data warehousing. This is the industry I come from, so this is what I'm familiar with. We got lakehouse, warehouse, data mart, all kinds of fucking different ways of saying the same thing, pretty much. Yeah, Series J. They hit it A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. But now they bought Neon, so a database company. But this is an interesting acquisition, and I want to hear people like Theo T3GG, if you know who that is. I want to hear his opinions. But I wonder why. I feel like I wonder why Databricks did this. And something I'm thinking about why is it's more consumer, it's more like consumer developer company. Like, people use it to build things. It's easy to build things on it. And Databricks is more of a enterprise B2B style company. And so this could be a break into more consumer facing technology companies that are still within the realm of what Databricks does, i.e. databases. And now specifically with AI being big and like vibe coding and like just AI coding in general, Neon is a good fit, for that, just because of it's easy to work with. So let's read their opinion, and then we'll read Wall Street Journal. Let's read Neon, and then we'll read Wall Street Journal. Neon and Databricks, a new chapter. 4 years ago, Stas, Heike, and I got together with a vision to disrupt the database industry. We observed the unstoppable rise of Postgres as the #1 choice for developers. Yep, but by far the best. Sorry, MySQL. Also, SQL databases are the best, because I love structure. It's either you go full structure or you go chaos unstructured. No in between. At the same time, we saw the limitations of legacy monolithic architectures in the cloud era. So it came up with something new, an architecture that separates storage and compute and introduces a branchable version storage system. Right, and I guess that's also a good benefit of it. I've never had to use these features, I guess. Enabling instant branching, time travel, and serverless scale. The idea was simple: build a cloud-native Postgres that developers would love and that could power the next generation of modern applications, including AI-native ones. Then we got to work. I don't know if, to be honest, I don't know if they're thinking of AI native applications when they first started Neon. Let's be real, because this was a while ago. Also, my experience with Neon was like, I was using Go. I was making a API application, something with Go. I was using Gorm, which is a Go object relation manager, which you use to kind of manage the database and in your application by programming, and it makes it easy to write like complicated queries. For whatever reason, there was a bug with Gorm at the time to where I couldn't do certain migrations. I couldn't do certain things with Neon, and so I just couldn't use it with my application. So I was like, damn, that sucks. And then I tried probably one more time, and then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna run my own Postgres or use like Supabase or something, or like I like Fly.io a lot. I think that's where my personal BradyBleen.com is hosted on Fly. Anyways. Today we're thrilled to announce that, I'm sorry, I don't really care that much about the history of Neon right now. We're thrilled to announce that Neon will be joining forces with DataBricks after the transaction closes. So it hasn't closed? Is that premature? This is a proud moment, but it's also $1 billion. A billy. They hit unicorn status, theoretically. I wonder what the VCs think of this. We could actually go. Let's go here. We could look at something like Thrive Capital. Or like, let's look at like Andreessen Horowitz, who, dang, bro, they were early on and more. So like they probably got a good payout from this. Like, I want to see what their opinions are. What the fuck? No. They probably won't comment until it's closed, maybe. I'm trying to see if there's any other like commentary. I mean, there's Hacker News comments, but I kind of like hate going to comment section. There's always some crazy ass like something like at the beginning. This is why I kind of love Hacker News. You get such interesting opinion because people are just not afraid to say what they actually think here, because it's a pretty, I don't know, I guess it's welcomed. I like that. I welcome that. Yeah, this is a proud moment. It will be beginning of an even more ambitious chapter. This acquisition will give us the scale and backing to accelerate our mission. I guess I imagine that for developers, we likely don't want them to shut down, because there isn't that many other companies that are a pure play database hosting company anymore that is also priced in a way that normal developers could use. I'm looking at you, PlanetBase. I love PlanetBase. I was a big PlanetBase user, and then they chopped off the free plan, and the cheapest next plan was $40 a month. And my website was built with the backing of PlanetBase, and so I was just like, all right. thanks, guys. I'm not going to pay $40 a month to my personal website, you know, for my personal website, just for the database. So I guess with Databricks taking over now, hopefully they still make it price accessible. Databricks is a company we've long admired. They've built an incredible business on top of open source software and relentless focus on data and AI. What Spark did for big data, they are now doing for the AI stack. Because the creators of Databricks were also the creators of Apache Spark. From early on, our teams have been aligned culturally and technically. We have had regular coffee chats, traded notes on architecture, and shared a belief that the future of data is unified. Analytics, ML, and now OLTP. Belonging to the same ecosystem. Let's see what OLTP is. Online transaction processing. With this acquisition, we'll be building together. Neon isn't going anywhere, we're doubling down, and the entire team will stay focused on building the best database in the world. Our roadmap is accelerating, and our ambitions is only growing. Together with Databricks, we will build the best Postgres experience in the world and maybe one of the most important pieces of the modern AI native app stack. To everyone who believed in us early, thank you. Neon Journey has been an incredible ride so far, but the truth is, we're just getting started. All right, maybe I should give Neon another try. I mean, when I did use them, it was very early, and it was a very specific bug that made me not want to go to them. The only thing is they are much more expensive than like a traditional database company. Like, I still see Supabase as the better value because Supabase is just pure Postgres, and you could just use it like a pure Postgres database that's backed by, I'm pretty sure they use RDS and the AWS, Amazon Web Services RDS in the background. So you just get a RDS database with a much better UI, if that matters, but also it's just a good database with a hosting company that is like pretty cool. Like, I don't know, I like Superbase's company. And they have a bunch of AI shit built in. You could do vector databases, but all of that is via plugins, which you could do on Neon too. But anyways, maybe I could give Neon another try sometime. Okay, let's read this Wall Street Journal commentary on it now. Databricks to buy startup Neon for $1 billion. And I also, I wonder how much the founders have. I wonder how much ownership they still have and if they're going to get a nice payday. Like, I hope they are. All right. Databricks has agreed to acquire database startup Neon in a deal valued at about $1 billion, a move the company hopes will make it more attractive to businesses that want to create their own artificial intelligence bots. Is Databricks even accessible to like everyday developers? I feel like it's like they're way more enterprisey. Like businesses, they specify, you know, like it was kind of sucked. Like I used Snowflake at my old job, and like in my own time, if I wanted to like learn Snowflake, there are very limited options for free use of the product as just a normal developer to learn it. You know, and I kind of had to learn on the job because like there wasn't really many other options. And you know, just because they're focused on enterprise and businesses, that like normal devs just can't really go and do shit that you can because it costs money. The data analytics company said the deal addressed a challenge that businesses face when deploying AI agents, how to quickly link up the data they need to make their services run. The problem gets harder as more AI agents are writing code and executing tasks, said Ali Godsey, co-founder and chief executive of Databricks. Yeah. Pretty much every customer we have is super excited and wants to leverage agents, said Godsey, referring to the autonomous bots that can make decisions and perform tasks on behalf of humans. But the problem is, those bots need to be able to create new databases to support what they do. I mean, that's a specific use case. They're not wrong, but like also like... I mean, this is kind of a narrow take so far. Like we have like model context protocol, we have like MCP. Like you could easily have a like a AI agent spin up a SQL database or make a connection to Postgres. Like I was using Cursor and YOLO mode, and fucking Cloud was started making database migrations with, and I was like, whoa. So I mean, like, AI could control databases pretty well already if you, kind of tell it, point it in the right direction. Enter Neon, a cloud-based database platform that developers and AI bots use when building apps and websites. The platform is based on the popular open source database PostgreSQL and a relational database that dates back to the late 1980s. Yeah. Postgres is the OG, but that's why they're the best, is just because they're all reliable. I love Postgres. Neon would serve as the underlying database for customers that create AI agents with data they store in Databricks platform. Now, I do see strategically with Neon, the serverless being important because you could kind of spin things up really quickly with AI agents. And I do see that being in a good bridge, or like a good differentiator with Neon. I guess serverless could fit AI agents well, just because a lot of what AI agents do are like time limited, or they're just doing some specific task, and so you could spin it up, it completes a task, then you could spin it down, and you don't have to pay for in between. So I could see that being valuable. Databricks makes money by renting out analytics capabilities, AI, and other cloud-based software that taps AI-ready data for building enterprise tech systems. Today, more than 80% of databases built on Neon are created automatically by AI agents rather than human database administrators, Databricks said. What the fuck? What? Bro, agents are way down here? Replit agent. Ah, that's why. Is because, yes, Replit. Replit is using them. That's why. Because Replit's coding agent's been like pretty popular. What is create.xyz? I've not heard of these guys. Text to app. Alright, I've not heard of these guys. This is cool. So they must have integration. In $20 a month, so they're in line with the typical AI pricing. Interesting. So 80% of the databases built on Neon are created automatically by AI agents. That's crazy. Neon's roughly 140 employees will join Databricks when the deal closes. The startup will remain its own entity in the short term, Databricks said, but will be integrated into the Databricks platform over the long term. I really hope they keep Neon like as a separate brand and like entity, and they just take the technology and use it behind the scenes at Databricks. I hope that they survive. The deal, expected to close during Databricks' second fiscal quarter ending July 31, marks its $3 billion AI and data-related acquisition in recent years. The San Francisco-based company struck a $1.3 billion deal for the generative AI startup Mosaic ML in 2023. And last summer paid between $1 billion and $2 billion for the data management startup Tabular. Let me see Tabular. Interesting. I have not heard of Tabular. The storage platform, the original creators of Apache Iceberg. That's crazy, bro. It's like all these Apache alum are kind of coming under the same company. Because Databricks made Apache Spark, Tabular made Apache Iceberg. Yeah, analytics too, similar to Spark. Yep. I know, yeah, Hive is another Apache product. As I say, I know Hive. Interesting. They're all coming together under the same roof, like it's, the same company now. Like that's interesting. I could see that being very powerful. Databricks is valued at $62 billion after landing a $10 billion funding round one of the largest in Silicon Valley's history late last year. Only beaten by, they've beaten by now OpenAI. But yeah, a Series J, which is crazy. They're going that far down. With the Neon deal, Databricks joins the ranks of tech giants including NVIDIA and OpenAI that have recently released their own platforms for customers to build AI agents, demonstrating tech vendors' eagerness to win over customers in the AI agent race. To actually create an AI agent isn't that easy and requires a combination of tools or even building something from scratch, says Amaj Masad, founder of CEO app development startup Replit. Yep, a Databricks and Neon customer. And Replit has their own coding agent right now. Right now, there's no place to be able to track the entire trajectory of software development agents, Masad said, adding that Databricks Neon acquisition will make it easier for Replit to manage its agent building capabilities. Yeah. Interesting. We're dying not to have to build everything ourselves. Interesting. Yeah, this is cool. This is we're unfortunately we're seeing some consolidation, especially in the AI space now, especially in databases, or at least there's just not as many players, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I just want to cover this because I just I like Neon. Like, I think they're, but now I just hope they don't go away. Okay, now we got the copyright saga. U.S. copyright saga. Elon Musk's apparent power play at the Copyright Office completely backfired, ripping off content to train AI wasn't going to fly with either MAGA populace or MAGA media. So there's several, just some context, there's several lawsuits going on. I guess notably OpenAI with New York Times arguing that AI companies taking data and training AI on copyrighted material is fair use. I see both sides, but I think AI companies taking copyrighted data, training their AI on it, it's the fact that you're taking the full copyrighted data and then training the AI on it is like the part that I feel like is the not cool. And how now they just want to get out of it and they want full exemption. Like, I think that if AI companies get a full pass on anything copyright, they should just rethink how copyright and fair use works for everybody. Because I think the copyright is more than just like copyright. I think it goes into like DRM and digital rights management. It goes into the DMCA, like the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It goes into kind of all of these different rules on how you could use and not use certain digital media. And I think that they should just rethink all of it if AI companies are going to get a pass. But, now to make this a little bit more complicated, Trump fired the Librarian of Congress, who I'm pretty sure oversees copyright. And they did that. However it happened, it was done clearly to play to the AI companies wanting to change how copyright works and wanting them to get a pass. But it looks like it may have not actually worked. So let's read here. I actually have to use the restroom and then we'll continue with this. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. All right. Whoops. Elon Musk's apparent power play at the Copyright Office completely backfired. What initially appeared to be a power play by Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency to take over the US Copyright Office by having Donald Trump remove officials in charge has now backfired in a spectacular fashion, as Trump's acting replacements are known to be unfriendly and even downright hostile to the tech industry. Now Okay. Got it. Okay, I was just gonna say maybe the Library of Congress is separate, but I was like, I think it is, but yeah. When Trump fired Librarian of Congress Carla Hayden last week and Register of Copyrights Shira Perlmutter over the weekend, it was seen as another move driven by the tech wing of the Republican Party, especially in light of the Copyright Office releasing a pre-publication report by saying some kinds of generative AI training would not be considered fair use. Yeah. And when two men showed up at the Copyright Office inside the Library of Congress carrying letters purporting to appoint them to acting leadership positions, the Doge takeover appeared to be complete. But those two men, Paul Perkins and Brian Neves, were not Doge at all, but instead approved by the MAGA wing of the Trump coalition that aims to put tech companies in check. And it's so interesting because, you know, like Republicans have a love-hate relationship with tech because, like, you know, there's this like Republican right-wing tech arm that they're kind of talking about right now that is very big in Silicon Valley, kind of like led by like the Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen figures. But also more traditional Republicans hate big tech. They just hate tech because of, you know, all their like perceived like bias and all that bullshit, you know, like for like what they've done kind of during the last election and like the deplatforming and like all that kind of like shit that's like, I don't know. I think it's kind of like, it's like, bro, if you're coming and you're saying like racist shit or you're saying things that like people don't want on your platform, then it's like, yeah, I mean, like I don't know. You do this, they do the same thing. It's free speech. It goes both ways, unfortunately, or fortunately. Anyways, Trump's, Republicans have a love-hate relationship with big tech. So it's interesting now what's happening because it seems to be, again, the double-edged sword. It's like, you know, yeah, you may have fired the people who were stopping you, which, you know, might get you a leg ahead. It might have gotten you a leg up. Like, you know, in terms of like AI copyright stuff. But then now, you know, it's like these two guys theoretically coming in that are not going to be favorable towards the tech industry. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny isn't the right word because there's real consequences here. Ironic isn't the right word either, but irony is the closest. Perkins, the now supposed acting Register of Copyrights, is an 8-year veteran of the DOJ who served in the first Trump administration prosecuting fraud cases. Wow. But I do think, you know, like, I don't know who the background of the people who was there before, but like, lawyers seem to be the best fit for a Copyright Office because like it is just interpretation of the law and like that's kind of what you're dealing with. Neves, the punitive acting deputy librarian, is currently at the office of the Deputy Attorney General, having previously been a lawyer on the White House Judiciary Committee where he worked with Republican Jim Jordan on big tech investigations. What is this twist? Bro, that's crazy. And Todd Blanche, the punitive acting librarian of Congress, who would be their boss, is a staunch Trump ally who represented him during his 2024 Manhattan criminal trial and is now the Deputy Attorney General overseeing the DOJ side in the Google search remedies case. What? Fuck. In that Google search remedy case, there are very drastic measures that would be detrimental detrimental to Google's business if it went through, and honestly just tech in general, like licensing, like giving Google search data, selling off Google Chrome. Both of those things would have devastating effects to Google's business. Google Chrome would have cascading effects beyond just Google. So like, I guess I just want to point that they're being very harsh in that case, I feel like. And now that this guy being harsh is the acting librarian of Congress. As one government affair lobbyist told The Verge, Blanche is there to stick it to tech. But this is what it's kind of crazy with Trump, because like Trump letting in too many different factions into the government is fucking over many things now. I'm thinking about AI right now because, like, you know, we just had a Senate bro, it's crazy. We just had a Senate hearing about how, you know, Sam Altman, AMD CEO Lisa Liu, you know, Microsoft VP Ben Smith saying how, like, we need, you know, American tech, you know, we need countries using American technology, using American AI models. We need a way to continue American influence throughout the rest of the world. And now here we are on the other side now. And then Trump just went to Saudi Arabia, you know, talked about chips. He removed the AI diffusion rule to make it easier for NVIDIA to sell chips elsewhere. And then now he goes and puts he puts allies, you know, he puts, you know, cronies inside the Library of, you know, the Copyright Office and the Library of Congress that are there to stick it to big tech, stick it to tech. It's like, guy, you can't have it both ways. I know that is literally defining Trump's term is having it both ways, like, i.e. him making money in the private sector while also being the fucking president of the United States. But it's just like, he has to pick a side, and I see this as too many factions vying for power within the president, you know, within the White House, within the Trump administration. You know, it's like one faction's opinion, you know, one faction's who am I trying to say? One faction's advisor, that's what I'm looking for. One faction's advisor could be by him, you know, near Saudi, you know, and advise him on Saudi Arabia. Then one faction's, you know, advisor could give him advice countering the other factions about what they said in Saudi Arabia, for example, now against, you know, with the Copyright Office or something. Like, I don't know. The appointee of Blanche, Perkins, and Neves are the result of furious lobbying over the weekend by the conservative content industry. Oh, see, but this is the fact. This is what I'm saying with the factions. A jealousy protective. Okay, I need to restart it. The appointment of Blanche, Perkins, and Neves are the result of furious lobbying over the weekend by the conservative content industry, as jealousy protective of its copyright works as any other media companies, as well as populist Republican lawmakers and lawyers, all enraged that Silicon Valley has somehow persuaded Trump to fire someone who'd recently criticized AI companies. This is it's literally exactly what I was saying. It's different factions. Trump is fucking himself over, actually, for putting too many factions, you know, close to him. The Silicon Valley tech people seem to be... I don't even know who's winning, necessarily. Because it's like, we have like, the tariff people. We have, like, there's actually a lot, I feel like, and I'm curious. I wish someone would break it down, because I don't know if I have enough, like, political knowledge, specifically conservative or right-leaning political knowledge to like really know, but it's like the tech bros, the Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Elon Musk's. We have like the unitary like presidential theory where it's like the people that they want Trump to have as much power as possible. Then there's like the like mercantilism type where they want to create this protective shell and onshore manufacturing, and that's kind of like the tariff type of people. The tariff, the like trade people. And I'm sure there's more, but like, yeah, this is interesting. The populists were particularly, and then maybe the populists, rankled. I've never heard this word before. Like startled. Cause persistent irritation and resentment. To become sore, inflamed, fester. The populists were particularly rankled over Perlmutter's removal from the helm of the Copyright Office, which happened the day after the agency released a pre-publication version of its report on the use of copyrighted material in training of generative AI systems. And we might look at this here. Oh, it's 113 pages? Fuck. Maybe not. AI systems, sources speaking to The Verge are convinced the firings were a tech industry power play led by Elon Musk and White House AI and crypto czar, crypto people. That's another faction, actually, I think, up with Trump. David Sachs, meant to eliminate any resistance to AI companies using copyrighted material to train models without having to pay for it. Fair use. You can say, well, we have to compete with China. No, we don't have to steal the content to compete with China. We don't have to slave labor to compete with China. It's a bullshit argument. Mike Davis, the president of Article 3 Project, a key antitrust advisor to Trump, told The Verge. I mean, I actually agree with that. To an extent, like, because I think it's, kind of along my opinion of like, I don't think AI companies should just get a pass, And I think that the AI companies are using the race with China as like an excuse to just do whatever the fuck they want. And I don't think that's cool either. If the system is broken, then let's fix the system for everybody. It's not fair use under the copyright laws to take everyone's content and have the big tech platforms monetize it. That's the opposite of fair use. That's copyright infringement. This is what I'm saying, where it's like big tech has like such a double-sided sword. Republicans have such a double-sided view of big tech. It's like half them have this view, which I think aligns with more left-esque, more liberal type of view. Or at least a more moderate type of view. I use moderate. I think that's a better word. And then the others are kind of on the far ends of the spectrum where it's like, they're like, fuck big tech. Or they're like, yeah, it's like freeing, or it's like, fuck big tech. It's the rare time that MAGA world... Actually, what I just said I don't think makes sense. I feel like it's the more... ends of the spectrum view of like not liking big tech. It's more like centrist view to be like maybe not really care or just support them blindly. Maybe that's what I'm saying. It's the rare time that MAGA world is in agreement with the Democratic Party. Yeah, and this is what I'm trying. Yeah, where it's like people on both sides agree actually with this point, but there's also people on each side that agree to the opposite. Which, it's rare that the rare time that MAGA world is in agreement with the Democratic Party, which has roundly condemned the firings of Hayden and Perlmutter, and also zeroed in on the Musk-Sachs faction as the instigator. Yes, I'm so glad they're actually saying factions directly. In a press release, Representative Joe Morrell, Democrat from New York, characterized the 100-plus page report the third installment of a series that the office has put out on copyright and artificial intelligence, as refusing to rubber stamp Elon Musk's effort to mine troves of copyrighted work to train AI models. Meanwhile, Senator Ron Wyden, who told The Verge in an emailed statement that the president has no power to fire either Hayden or Perlmutter, said, "This all looks like another way to pay back Elon Musk and the other AI billionaires who backed Trump's campaign." I mean, I don't really know names. I know faces. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This guy's been in here for, he's been around for a while. Yeah, 96. Publications like the AI Report, this report right here is what they're referring to, essentially lay out how the Copyright Office interprets copyright law, but the agency's interpretation of what is or isn't fair use doesn't have a binding force on the courts. But also, when we did read about this the other day, it was kind of inconclusive. That's kind of what I got from this, or like what I read from people taking from it. So a report like this, one functions mostly as an expert commentary and reference material. However, the entire AI industry is built on an expansive interpretation of copyright law that's currently being tested in the courts, a situation that's created dire need for exactly this sort of expert commentary. AI Report applies the law of fair use to different kinds of AI training and usage, concluding that although outcomes might differ case by case, making commercial use of vast troves of copyrighted work to produce expressive content that competes with them in existing markets, especially where this is accomplished through illegal access, like thwarting paywalls, pirating content like Meta's done. They pirated like 80 terabytes of books. Goes beyond established fair use boundaries, but far from advising drastic action in response to what the office believes is rampant copyright infringement. The report instead states that government intervention would be premature at this time, given that licensing agreements are being made across various sectors. To me, that seems like it's like inconclusive. It's like, depends. The unoffending nature of the report made Perlmutter's removal all the more alarming to the MAGA ideologies in Trump's inner circle. Yeah, because it's like, if they actually didn't even like take a side, then like why were they fired? It's like, who saw this as a clear power grab and were immediately vocal about it. Now tech bros are going to steal creators. Yeah. Creators copyright for AI profits. Davis posted immediately on Truth Social, along with a link to CBS story about Perlmutter's firing. This is 100% unacceptable. Bro, this is crazy. It says, curiously, just after Davis published the post, Trump reposted it, link and all. Bro, you could just never get a read on Trump. None of Trump's purported appointees have a particularly relevant background for the new jobs. Yeah. I said that I think it is like, they're lawyers, so I mean, that's kind of what I imagine most of a copyright is. But they are certainly not Doge people, and generally speaking, are not the kind of people that generative AI proponents would want in the office. And for now, this counts as a political win for the anti-tech populists. Even if nothing further happens, sometimes when you make a pitch to leadership to get rid of someone, the person who comes in after isn't any better. Fair, said a source familiar with the dynamic between the White House and both sides of the copyright issue. You don't necessarily get to name the successor and fire someone, and so in many cases, I've seen people get pushed out of the door, and replacement is even worse. I can see that, though. All The speed of the firings and subsequent power struggle, however, have underscored the brewing constitutional crisis sparked by Trump's frequent firing of independent agency officials confirmed by Congress. The Library of Congress firing, in particular, reached well past the theory of executive power. That's what I was claiming, the unitary theory, where it's like the president has much more overreaching power than otherwise previously said due to some specific word in the Constitution. That arguably Trump and his fellow allies are trying to get the Supreme Court to decide on, so they can get a definitive answer whether what he's doing is legal or not. Claimed by the White House into an even murkier territory. It's legally dubious whether the Librarian of Congress can be removed by the president. Again, it's like the Librarian of Congress can be removed by the president as a library, a legislative branch agency. I did not know that, and I didn't actually know they were part of the legislative branch. I guess it makes sense considering Library of Congress, but that significantly predates the administrative states. The administrative state does not fit neatly into the modern day legal framework of federal agencies. Interesting. I don't really know much about the Library of Congress, so this is interesting to learn about. Of course, everything about the law is in upheaval, even where agencies do fit the framework. Regardless, the law clearly states that the Librarian of Congress, not the president, appoints the Register of Copyrights. I mean, that seems pretty cut and dry, if I'm being honest. This is the U.S. Code. All administrative functions and duties under this title, except as otherwise specified, are the responsibility of the Register of Copyright Office as Director of Copyright and the Library of Congress, the Register of Copyrights, together with a subordinate. At the moment, the Library of Congress has not received any direction from Congress on how to move forward. The constitutional crisis, one of many across the federal government, remains ongoing. Elon Musk and SKI did not respond for request for comment. Dang, let's look at comments. Yeah, who needs Mexican, Brazilian soap operas when there's MAGA to fill that itch? Yeah. I've also been watching House of Cards, and like, the best thing about this show is I just love the behind the scenes strategy and decision making that they have to do, especially considering that the Underwood just want to stay in power. I just see the and I know the Underwoods are Democratic, but I don't really think that matters in this instance because the Underwoods are kind of like the Trumps, the Trump family right now. And I see a lot of overlap, but I do like the factions vying, for power and all that stuff. Like it's interesting to see from the sideline. Now, it is unfortunate that it is real life and that there are serious consequences coming from that now. But yeah, it's giving me like a purple glow. All right, let's take some let's chill out a bit. Let's watch some more fun stuff. Today was kind of a heavy day. I find it very interesting, but it is a lot. The geopolitics and all the AI drama. Is there an RSS feed on here? I've really been wanting to supplement my feeds more. Whoops. Okay, let's close this. Yeah, this is just kind of a side story. I used Chime like way back, briefly, but the tech IPO scene is interesting right now. We might take a look at this some other time. Same with this. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Let's just take a look at this real quick, bro. This just reminds me of like the it's like HBO changing its name to, get this, HBO Max. It's like, okay, we've gone HBO Max, now back to HBO Max.
I said that I wanted to have kids, and you said that you wanted me to have a vasectomy. What did I do? And then, when you said that you might want to have kids, and I wasn't so sure, who had the vasectomy reversed? And then when you said you definitely didn't want to have kids, who had it reversed back? Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. I did. You have no idea the physical toll the 3 vasectomies have on a person.
Oh, that scene is so good. But bro, that's what Warner Bros. Discovery, bro, that's how I feel like with their fucking name changing. Like, Jesus Christ, make up your mind. Today's not April 1st, and this is not The Onion. Warner Bros. Discovery owned streamer formerly known as HBO Max, and is currently known as Max, has changed its name to HBO Max. Yeah. And the fact is, yeah, they spent so much money on it. Like, if I was a fucking investor in this, I'd be like, bro, bullshit, bro. Shut the, like, make up your mind. Well, full retreat from the maxification of HBO Wednesday morning and his company upfront presentation to advertisers. The official name change will take place this summer. Yeah, is it Zaslav? I wonder if this is the same guy who was the previous thing. Okay. Who was the previous Warner Media CEO? I'm so confused on the structure. Yeah, okay, they're separate. Anyways, yeah, this is crazy. Official name change will take place this summer. In a press release explaining the rationale for this latest rebranding, Warner Bros. Discovery said this evolution came after months of Max paring down its offering to deprioritize other genres that drive less engagement or acquisition, including recently removing hundreds of hours of the Discovery branded reality shows that Max name was meant to encompass. Removing? Like what? Like, does it really cost them that much money to just have it on there? No consumer today is saying that they want more content, but most consumers are saying they want better content. I 100% agree with that. That's why I like Max generally, is because a lot of their shows, and also Apple TV too, they're probably the closest one, and honestly AMC, or FX, sorry. Maybe it is AMC, FX. I think it's FX. They all pretty good quality shows. Apple TV really actually has, like, they have very high quality. They're going definitely quality over quantity. With other services filling the more basic needs with volume. Netflix, Hulu, maybe Disney Plus, but Disney Plus just has a large backlog. Warner Bros. Discovery has clearly distinguished itself through its quality and distinct stories, and no brand has done that better than consistent over 50 years than HBO. And in a sentence that may well earn a corporate spin Hall of Fame award. This is why I picked The Vulture too for writing, because I like sarcastic commentary. I like irreverent commentary. Warner Bros. Discovery called its decision a testament to Warner Bros. Willingness to keep boldly iterating in its strategy and approach, leaning heavily on consumer data and insights to best position itself for success. Or perhaps to position itself for the inevitable decision to merge HBO Max with another streaming service a few years down the road. Yeah, I like that. Fun story. Not fun story. Okay, let's look at this. Nintendo Switch final tech specs have been confirmed. Game chat has a significant impact on system resources. We all know. Okay, I just want to kind of go down to the specs. So, okay, yes. Oh, bro, thank you, Nintendo Life. This is why I picked Nintendo Life, because I always want to pick the publication that covers the main company that the thing's about, you know? I also like to have diverse opinions on here on stream. Diverse sources, so we get diverse opinions. So, yeah, the first Switch used NVIDIA chip. Their GPU. And it looks like they're continuing that using the Ampere architecture. NVIDIA T239. Let's look that up. Like, where else is this chip used? Looks like this is already confirmed in 2023. I guess this is known. So we got 8. They're using an ARM CPU, which is cool. Newer model, and also just more CPU power. Seems like 8 times ARM. This is 4x. Interesting that it has a higher clock speed when handheld versus docked. Clock speed is like the same, but I think this, this upgrade is more significant. 2 cores, 6 available to developers. System reservation? I don't know what that means. Has a lot more CUDA cores. Doing some AI. You run in Malama on the Nintendo Switch. Got DDR5. Faster memory bandwidth, so much faster. Holy shit. Like 4x faster. Three gigabytes. Bro, this Switch 1 is like actually crazy how much of an upgrade it actually is, but I think it's just the Switch 1 is so old. Let's take a look at the custom NVIDIA system on a chip and compare it to the equivalent for the original Switch, which, as DF's Rich Lee Better said, was effectively a vanilla Tegra X1. The new NVIDIA T239 for the Switch 2 is absolutely custom built specifically for Nintendo. Got it. That answers my question, and that's why I wanted to find who else was using it to kind of just get a gauge, but it looks like this is very specific. That's interesting. I wonder what the pricing on that looks like for I wonder how much money NVIDIA really made from making a custom chip for the Switch 2. CPU architecture is made of 8 ARM Cortex-878C cores, running ARM v8, 64-bit instructions set with cryptography instructions enabled. Okay. 2 of these have been reserved for Nintendo for the operating system. I see. So that's what they're saying down here. It's like 2 cores. So like 6 are available to developers. 2 cores are just for the operating system. Same with 3 gigabytes just for the operating system. The remaining 6 are available for developers to use. This is the same ratio to the original Switch, which utilized 4 ARM Cortex-A57 cores with 1 reserved for the operating system. With the cache configuration shared by NVIDIA, Digital Foundry says Switch 2 is utilizing 64K of L1 instruction cache, another 64K of L1 data cache. CPU clocks reveal CPU run at 1100 megahertz in handheld mode and dropping down to 998 megahertz when switching over to performance mode. I wonder why. Dock mode yields a CPU clock of 998 megahertz Well, the maximum clock for the CPU is 1.7 gigahertz. Okay. Looking at the graphics hardware, previous leak can be confirmed that the Switch 2 utilizing NVIDIA's Ampere architecture related for 3 teraflops when in dock mode, 1.7 when in handheld mode. CUDA cores compared to 256 used. All right. When it comes to ray tracing, Switch 2 is rated at 10 gigarays per second. I didn't even know there was a rating for ray tracing. In handheld mode and doubling up to 20 gigarays when docked. Ray tracing has yet to be seen in confirmed games up to this point, but it's surely come. Because moving on to memory, the leaks have confirmed it with 2 6GB modules, making a total of 12 gigabytes. Memory bandwidth confirmed at 102 gigabytes a second. Okay, so we looked at it. 3 gigabytes of RAM is reserved for the system itself, while 9 gigabytes is available for developers to use. Compare this to the original Switch, which is a total of 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now, something particularly interesting is that the game chat was supposedly have... Oh yeah, game chat's like a new Nintendo Switch 2 feature where you can like chat in game and shit. Like, I do kind of remember that. Will supposedly have a significant impact on system resources, with Nintendo actually providing developers with a testing tool, essentially simulating the latency and issues that game chat would run in the real world. Wow, Digital Foundry said that game chat is an area of developer concern. Huh. Interesting. All right. Also, if you guys follow me on LinkedIn, I'm gonna start posting on LinkedIn. Because why not? Why not? All right. Let's find a video to end on. Let's watch this new Android. Android 16, new era for Google's operating system.
I'm here at Google to learn all about Android 16 and Gemini, and who better to show me than Samir Samant, president of Android.
There's also a story I was going to cover yesterday, or I just kind of, maybe I was just reading about it, but Android is releasing a desktop type UI that Samsung had, and I really liked. I had a Galaxy S10 Plus for a while, and I really liked being able to like use a mouse potentially with your phone and hooking up to a monitor and using it like a computer. I thought that was cool and kind of underrated. That might be coming back, or that is coming back with, or not coming back. Google is making their own interpretation of it now. So hopefully they talk about that. And the Material UI, we actually looked at that recently, and Google's logo change.
First, there's a huge UI refresh, and we're really excited for people to take a look at it and give us their thoughts. Second, we have heard from consumers that they are excited about what a digital assistant can do for them. So we're bringing Gemini to more surfaces on Android, including the watch.
Don't put that on us, bro. You want to push this. He's like, consumers really want this. It's like, bro.
The car, the TV, and more. And then finally, safety and security. There's a number of features in this release that will help with all of that in your daily life.
For Android 16, there are 3 big pillars. One of them is going to be this new Material Expressive UI. It overhauls
the Material design so much.
Entire phone, lock screen and home screen.
Going into your phone, you'll notice that you can continue to glance at your live update with the status bar chip. It stays whenever you're in context of an app or any other content. It'll always stay up there.
But it's also about how it makes you feel. All these touches around beauty and aesthetics, I think are, they're not always consciously meaningful to people, but as you experience the device, you just leave with a sense of delight.
In the new quick settings at the top, you'll notice it's also a lot more glanceable and customizable.
Bro, this is literally iOS. one of the things I hate about iPhones is I like on Android just being able to like just, I don't know how I can do this without sharing information. Like just kind of gesture down like this, just like boop anywhere on the screen, and it brings the top down, and notifications are combined with the little control. I'm using my finger to point at my screen. You can't see. Notifications are combined with, you know, the kind of control panels like there. I like how Android does this. I don't like that different sides of the screen bring up a different menu. Like one is the notifications and then one is the control panel. And then, you know, if you just kind of randomly swipe down on the screen, it brings up the search. I wish it was all integrated in the same menu like this.
You'll notice it's also a lot more glanceable and customizable. You can edit these controls to be 1x1 or 2x2 or 2x1 tiles. Okay, so I'll just show you one of those really quickly. With the internet tile, for example,
this is so
squeeze
dumb.
that in, voila.
You'll see more about the physics engine that we've got on phones that power the new material expressive system, whereby items on the screen move and leave and enter with a more natural adherence.
I do like that. That is a good, that's very clean. It's a very clean look.
To physics that you would expect.
Volume slider. So, you know, if you're hitting the end of it, there's a nice reactivity to it.
Another thing we got to talk about was the integration of Gemini. It's not only on phones, it's also going to be in cars, watches, and even on your TV. And what's neat about this is you have full access to Gemini, whether it's recommending a show for you or allowing you to actually do a doodle with your family on your home TV.
In the past,
who's using that?
Where assistants maybe taught us how to speak to them. You had to say things in a particular way. Now, with the advances in AI, you can just speak naturally and with all your ums and ahs and all your human affectations.
I can also pull up movies. Hey Google, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. And so it's pulled up the movie page, automatically plays a trailer. But now it can do even more complicated queries. Hey Google. Hey Google, which Mission Impossible is the best one?
This is a Google search. This is literally exactly what you do for Google search. It's like, isn't anything, like, not to like shit on them, but like, this is kind of like nothing crazy. Like, I could ask Siri the same question and it would probably pull up the same information. It's Siri is dog shit.
That's a fun debate. Many fans consider Mission Impossible Fallout to be a standout for its incredible action sequences and compelling story.
Now, I think the idea is that this is on your TV, and that's kind of more so the like moving, like having it on a different device.
Others might argue for the original Mission, Impossible for its suspense and classic spy feel, or perhaps Ghost Protocol for its globe-trotting adventure and Burj Khalifa stunt.
The system can really understand. Where that comes into play and where that's really interesting is, of course, on the phone, but also on new form factors that are yet to be super popular, but I think are going to be, which is, for example, glasses, where you have the ability for you to see a display that's right in front of you.
This is one of the newer ones. Google is working on a new Android VR/AR type of operating system, notably with Samsung, which, yeah, with Samsung. I wonder if Google has Google I/O next week. I wonder if they're actually going to talk about that. But the glasses are I think that is the next kind of
no one else can see
platform
and a camera that can help
it's the next mobile compute platform
see the world as you do. AI certainly does have instances where it doesn't get things correct, and I think that what's important here is to understand the context. So obviously, if you're using AI as part of Google search, that's going to be a really important area where factual information is critical, and the search team works really hard to make sure that they get that right. In other instances, like where we talked about in identifying an image and describing it, the AI can do its best, and it can actually be tuned to do quite a good job, and also give a disclaimer to the consumer that's like, you may want to double check this if it's a critical decision you need to make. Like before you buy it, maybe double check this with someone. But I think what we've found is that consumers would rather have access to this technology.
Wait, I totally zoned out.
Where we want in identifying a really important area where factual information doesn't get things correct. And I think that what's important here is to understand the context. So obviously, if you're using AI as part of Google search, that's going to be a really the important area where factual information is critical. And the search team works really hard to make sure that they get that right. In other instances, like where we talked about in identifying an image and describing it, the AI can do its best and it can actually be tuned to do quite a good job and also give a disclaimer to the consumer that's like, you may want to double check this if it's a critical decision you need to make. Like before you buy it, maybe double check this with someone. But I think what we found is that consumers would rather
This is like such a random ass point to put in here, but I honestly think it's just more so just seeing its audience.
Have access to this technology and would rather use it where we can make it very safe, even though in some cases there are instances where you may need to understand there are limits.
One of the neat new features of Android 16 is scam detection. So what this does is in the Messages app, if you are talking to someone that's part of a scam, the AI and software can recognize that and let you know before anything gets out of hand.
It's the new material expressive system whereby items on the screen
and recognize that and let you know before anything gets out of hand.
It's an on-device model.
Got it. He answered my exact next question. I was like, so are we sending our messages now to Google servers and back? Like, that seems opposite of what should be happening. iMessage is at least encrypted. But it's an on-device model? That's cool.
Specifically tuned to help understand when a particular message or message thread may be leading you down a path which is not great from the standpoint of revealing personal information. Now, it only works when you're having a conversation with somebody who's not in your contacts. So it won't be bothering you with folks who maybe are in your family or who that you know well. But for those texts that come from other folks that you may not know, may seem innocent, may seem like they're from a company or something of that nature who's trying to get a piece of information from you, it can be really helpful.
Another problematic part of modern life of the phone is people wanting to steal the phone. Not just for the value of the phone, but getting access to your data, your accounts, and your money. If your phone does get stolen, it allows you to lock down your information, your accounts and passwords, so that person stealing your phone doesn't get access to any of that. For theft detection, we actually took the demo outside, and Samir was kind enough to let someone pretend to steal his phone and see that in action. It's been an exciting time talking.
They actually changed the Find My Device section in Google, and I think they're making it more like Apple's, where you could like, it's more general to just like tracking of stuff versus just like your devices. Because I think you could add in like other AirTag like products. Because like what word that are work in the ecosystem, and you could add them on there, similar to like AirTags, and like, you know, you could view like AirTags and like your AirPods and shit, and like the Find My on an iPhone.
To Samir and seeing all about Android 16, and it generally does feel like this is one of the biggest Android updates in years. Now, what's next in store for Android? Well, we know that the public version is going to be out in June, and I'm excited to test that. I'm also excited to look more into some of the other aspects of Android, including the Wear OS overhaul on watches and Gemini coming to autos. That should be really fun. We'll see more about that hopefully this summer. Otherwise, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about Android 16 and some of the things that Samir said? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want more of CNET, please subscribe. Lastly, thank you for watching.
Cool. All right. That's going to do it for today's stream. We actually kind of a longer one today. I spent a lot of time on the first story, but I enjoyed it and I learned a lot, so no complaining here. I appreciate everyone hanging out and tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. I'm also posting on Substack now. All of my full VODs, and I'm going to start bradysbrain.com is a Substack, and I'm going to just start posting on there. It's going to kind of be more of a central place for me, so I'll post shorts and videos and such on there as well. And then I want to write more, so we'll get a newsletter going. I say a lot of interesting stuff on stream, and I just say a lot of stuff on stream, and so I want to package it in a better way, so that if you want to read it instead of watch it, that it fits. So yeah. All right. I appreciate everyone showing up, hanging out, tuning in. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Brady's Brain. Follow on Twitch. Got all my socials linked below. And we will be back tomorrow. Still no ending screen. I have the BRB screen set up. I just need to change it to be ending. All right, we'll see you guys later.